A person who writes what you are unable to express as if they stole the words from the depth of your soul. And a person who opens a new window for you whose existence you were unaware of. And a person who takes your spirit to places your feet, nor even your imagination have ever trodden. And the cynical person who reshapes your faint rebellion and grants you the ability to laugh at the contradictions of life. And the scientific person who protects your mind from illusion and guides you toward the truth. And the philosophical person who draws you toward questions you never dare to ask, and the wise person who makes you see things from an angle that never crossed your mind before, and the different person who awakens in you a part that had been asleep for years, and an honest person who shows you yourself as you are, not as you love to see yourself, and a deep person who makes you dive into your thoughts instead of staying on the surface of life, and a person who teaches you that beauty can lie in the most ordinary things, and the rebellious person who reminds you that some rules were meant to be understood before they are followed, and a sad person who teaches you that pain is not always a weakness, but maybe a path to understanding. And a person has lived long enough to make you shorten years of experience into single word. And a loving person who makes you believe that the heart is still capable of mending. And a person entirely a stranger to you, yet leaves an impact closer than some of those closest to you. And a person who differs from you in everything but adds to you something you didn't possess. And a person who shows you the world through new eyes after you had grown used to looking at it the same way. And a person who teaches you that difference is not a wall but a bridge toward a broader understanding. And a person who awakens in you questions you thought you had moved past. And a person who gives you the courage to face parts of yourself you were running away from. And a person who plants a small idea in you that grows over time until it changes your way of seeing life. And a person who reminds you that a human being is not merely what happened to them, but what they choose to become. And a person who carries a different experience from you, through whom you discover worlds you never knew. And a person who sees something in you that you never saw in yourself. And a person who leaves behind simple words, yet they stay with you for years. And a person who makes you realize that some encounters are not as transient as they seem. And a person who teaches you the meaning of patience when you see how they face their own storms. And a person who shows you the power of mercy in a world grown harsher. And a person who proves to you that knowledge is not only in what we read but in what we live with others. And a person who places a mirror before you in which you clearly see your thoughts, fears, and desires. And a person who changes the course of your day with a word, or changes the course of your life with an idea. And a person who reminds you that every human being carries a story that doesn't show on their face. and a person who makes you more humble when you discover that there are other ways to see the truth, and a person who teaches you that closeness is not always in distance, but in the depth of understanding, and a person who becomes a part of your journey without planning it, and a person who leaves an impact measured not by length of time but by the depth of presence, and a person who makes you know that human completion doesn't come from isolation but from friction with others. For this and more, the other remains your completion. For that reason, listen, read, share, and move toward the other. Thank you for listening.